Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Let's Play series. We're here with a game called Empires of Steel. It's a turn-based strategy game, kind of similar to the Civilization games if you've ever played those before, but it's a little unique in its own way. It was developed by Atomic Boy Software, and the game originally popped up in 2010 and has kind of been kicking around ever since. Just like usual, there'll be a link in the description below leading to the game's website, so it's a pay what you want system. If you want to pick it up, feel free to do that. We're going to jump right into it here, go over kind of what's going on here. So we've got the single player mode that you can go through and play. Quick start that'll jump you right into a game, and then obviously a new game which will set you up. There's also multiplayer, so you can actually play internet games, local area network games, and you can even do there's a play by email system, so you could actually submit your turn and play the game by email through with friends, which is was kind of popular in older games and older turn-based strategy games for online play. There's lots of map packs and scenarios and different game rules and such you can download right from here, which is kind of cool. So if you click on user-created downloads, you can go through and see all of the things that users have made, different maps, different scenarios, rules and such, which is really neat. And then you've got this tutorial and everything and just your usual stuff, game manual. So we're going to jump right into a single player game, go to new game. Now, I've played 3 games now, and I've lost all of them, so I'm not very good at the game, but we're going to do the best we can do. We're going to go with a width of 1400, height of 1400 for the map. I won't worry about wrapping top, bottom, left, right. I don't want the map to be known. I want it to have a fog of war. Land density, 50% normal. Geography, I do not want small islands. It was very frustrating. I'm just going to go with, I think Pangea. Yeah, I'm going to go with Pangea. Cities and resources, normal density is fine. Land density, I'm actually put that to 60%. That'll get rid of a little bit of the water, I think. Well, now we'll keep it at 50% since the boats are actually, naval combat's pretty important in this game. Date, time format, we're going to display the term number, time limits, we don't need to worry about that. Rules, so we've got the official rules of the game, and then I've even downloaded a 1900 to 2030 rebalance. So basically, you play between the years 1900 and 2030, and you're just trying to survive, well, you're trying to beat the game and knock out the other opponents in that time period. I don't think the game ends at 2030, I've never made it that far. No, it wouldn't. The game wouldn't end at 2030, you just would keep moving on until, just like Civilization, you'd keep moving on until you just defeated all your opponents. I like this rebalance mod here because it adds kind of some different things, like infantry are 20 to 30% less able to hurt tanks, which makes sense. Infantry have higher defensive bonuses in forest, mountains, and Arctic regions and stuff like that, so it just kind of adds a couple rebalances to the game. For players on a map of this size, we're going to go with 3. So me and 2 other players. Let's see, who do we want to be? There's a lot of countries here. Now, picking the country that you want to play as does not affect your gameplay, so there's no different units or anything that I can see or different things. It's basically just picking your flag. Let's go with United Nations. That's kind of cool. I've never really played as the United Nations. I mean, I know nothing's different, but it's just neat to be able to play as the United Nations. Oh, unit standard. Okay, so it's just standard units there. And then I guess we'll play against the Nazis and, what's that, France? Let's do the Nazis and let's do, who else would be, ooh, let's do Canada. So it's going to be the United Nations versus the Nazis versus Canada. So 3 players there. I think that is good. I think that's as much as I want it to be. So let's, do we want to go novice or, I tried elite and I got my face beaten. Veteran was kind of middle of the road. Let's just stick with novice AI. Actually see if I can win a game here. And here we are. So we're in the map. There's a lot going on, sort of. It looks a little bit confusing maybe at first, but it's actually very simple to pick up. The UI is very intuitive, and it's nice to do. So we start out here. We've started out with 1 city. And what we're going to do is, so this is kind of our city screen right here. You've got New York, which is our starting city. at 15 production. That's kind of funny because that's actually where I'm from. So you always start with a random city. It's really, it could be any city in the world. So that was pure coincidence that I started with New York. Units, let's see. So you can build units here. City improvements go here, like different buildings for your city. You've got a city summary, a description, which doesn't seem, or a description of the unit that you're hovering over. That's what that is. So you go over and kind of get some information about those units. And then we started with some units in this city. We've got 2 Zeppelins, 2 infantry, and 1 artillery. And yeah, these are going to be our starting units. Now there's researching and everything in the game, so we're starting the year 1900 basically. The first thing we're going to build is we're going to build a barracks. So that's going to take 1.3 turns, and it's going to give us a couple of different things. 25% plus 25% population, ground unit repair, so units sitting in the city will repair by 1 HP per turn, and then food provided to units inside City 1. Which reminds me, let me actually go over that real quick. So we set the barracks up to be built in 1.3 turns. Since 1.3 turns is not a lot, we'll also queue up, let's get another infantry guy queued up as well. So we'll close out this little city screen, and here we are actually on the map. We can zoom out and see how large this map is. This is what it looks like. So we're started up here in the corner. We've got 2 other players somewhere else on this map that we've got to find. And so that's something to keep in mind. Up here on the top, you've got obviously a little mini map up here. You've got your cash, your steel, your oil, and your food. Now everything on the map is pre-generated, so even the cities and the resource tiles are all just pre-generated, and you've got to capture them, and you can lose them and such, and I don't think cities can really be destroyed. I think they just stay forever. So we want to start, as you can see, each turn we lose a certain amount of resources here. So we're losing negative 3.8 steel, negative 3 oil, and negative 8 food per turn, and that'll change depending on what kind of units we use. Like if we're building units, we'll lose steel per turn, more steel per turn. If we're moving around tanks and aircraft, we'll lose more oil per turn, and if we have more troops, we'll lose more food per turn. So it's very important to try to capture these right off the bat as fast as possible. So we're actually going to click on our city here and see our troops inside, and we're going to take our infantryman and go and capture this gold, which will get us some more money per turn. And money can be used for a lot of things, primarily boosting your research speed, as well as buying other resources on a market, and we'll go over that later down the road when it comes time to actually use that. So other things that we have to queue up here, we want to definitely get research started. So here we are right here in like the 1900s era. We don't even have biplanes yet. We have Zeppelins and everything. So we want to start getting some things researched, and we want to queue up a couple things. Since this is our research funding down here, and since we're not making any money, there's really no point for us to boost that yet because we don't want to be losing money either. So we'll wait till we're actually cranking out some money once we capture that gold. But I think we're going to start with, we're going to go for infantry class 2. So that's actually going to research basic research electronics 1, research ballistics research 1, and it's going to queue everything up that you need to get infantry class 2. So as you can see, we got a few things queued up here, and it's actually got a lot of turns on it. But once I get that cash flowing in, I'll jump back in here and raise the research funding, and we'll lower all of these. The next thing I want to go for is tanks. So that gives us all of that stuff there. If we click over here, we can see our known technologies, which we don't have any yet, of course, because we haven't researched any. So yeah, the infantry class 2 and the tanks, I think, are going to be the big thing to go for right now. After that, we'll probably go for biplanes, but I'll hold off on that. I won't queue it up yet just because I'm not entirely sure. Now, other things we want to do a little bit of scouting. So if we actually click here on our Zeppelin, they're really good for scouting. And if you look at this, you're going to get 2 circles. So you've got this white circle here in the center and a big red circle. Basically what this means is the white circle is how far that Zeppelin can travel and then turn around and head back home. The red circle is how far it can travel overall. So what that basically means is if I send the Zeppelin right here, he'll fly all the way that way, and then he'll have just enough fuel to fly all the way back. If I was to send him over here, he could fly all the way that way, but then he would crash and burn because he would run out of fuel. So that's basically your maximum fuel, and then your maximum fuel you have to be able to fly there and return home. So we don't want to lose our Zeppelins, so we're going to set them right out to the maximum range. Let's explore up in this direction, see what's going on. And then we'll take our other Zeppelin and let's kind of explore down this road a little bit further, because as you can see, there's kind of a road there, and we'll see what's going on over there. So we don't have anything else left to do. It looks like we've got an infantry guy going up to capture this gold. We've got one more infantry guy and one more artillery, or an artillery piece, sitting in our city kind of for defense. And then we've got our Zeppelins heading out to do some exploring. So what we're going to do is head up on here and hit submit orders. And that is going to submit our turns into the database basically. And it's going to play through our turns and everybody else's at the same time. So that's what's really cool about this game. If you play this online with friends, you can actually all take your turns at the same time and plan your moves. And then submit your turn. And once everybody has submitted their orders, then the turns will all play out at the same time. So it's pretty neat to that respect. So there we go. All right, we've got a couple of different things that have gone on. So we've captured this gold, and then our soldier here, our infantry guy, has already queued himself up to go over and capture this steel. So generally, if your infantry see other resources, they'll just head for them. It helps kind of with you not having to micromanage everything, which is nice. So he saw this steel right up here, and he decided, I think that's steel, right? Yeah, so he saw this steel up here, and he decided to just head right up that way and pick that up, which is really useful. After getting the gold. We also discovered another city in the area. Nobody owns it currently, just a set of militias that are in there. Yep, just a militia. So we'll actually get ready to go over there and capture that. And then we've got a fort here on the map, which basically just gives you a defensive bonus if you station troops inside of it. So that's really useful there. As you can see, our Zeppelins are already queued up to head back to our city, which is good. Let's go into here and grab this infantry guy and drop him back into the city because I want to take him and the artillery over to Guadalajara, it looks like, and capture that. And I'm going to probably butcher a lot of these names, so just a friendly heads up right now. Some of these cities have some weird names. Let's go through and mess with our research now, which is up here in the right corner, because now we actually are producing, if you look, we're producing 8, I guess, dollars per turn, so we can actually dedicate some of those to boosting our research. Let's dedicate 4 of them, and then that'll actually make things a lot faster. So what was like 17 turns is now 3 turns, 6 turns, 2 turns, 3 turns, 2 turns, like a lot quicker than it was. Let's also queue up the biplane, since I know I am going to want that to help with scouting and whatnot. Plus we want to start working towards fighters and bombers and all those good things. And we need to get this oil out here as well, which is going to be kind of a pain because I don't have any boats to go capture that. But let's queue up our Zeppelins and keep exploring. We'll head down that way and we'll go that way. We've captured this steel up here, which is very good. We'll grab that soldier and actually send him back down. Let's head down to the fort actually with him. We'll take this infantryman here. We'll actually queue him up, kind of group him up with the artillery. So now they're kind of part of a group. And we can click on both of them and send them off to here. And we'll start getting them out. We'll get them propped up outside of Guadalajara there and get ready to take that city. We've got Manila really close to us as well. Manila is actually a city in the Philippines, so we'll head down there and probably capture that with another group of troops once I figure out. Oh, yep, we're 1 turn away from producing the next infantry, or producing an infantry guy in this city. So let's actually queue up. We'll have 2 infantrymen and 1 artillery, so let's do that. Zeppelins are coming back. These guys are heading out. All right, we'll submit our turn again. Things start to go pretty quickly once you get the hang of the game. You start kind of moving things around. It's pretty neat how it all works. So this infantry guy I actually queued up to go that way. I'm going to turn him around and put him back in the city because I want to take him and the other infantry guy and artillery and go capture Manila. Also, one thing to mention is these numbers here. The blue. I'm not entirely sure what the blue is actually. I don't think. There might be a way to tell. Let's see. City improvement, city summary. Population 15. Not sure what the blue is. I don't really see anything here that might indicate it. Maybe air units. No, because there should be 2 Zeppelins there, so not air units. Yeah, I'm not sure what the blue is actually. I don't really know. I do know that the white there is the production level, so your populations, kind of your production and your population are basically based off each other. We've got a population of 15.2, so we've got a production of 15. That rounds up or down based off of how you're sitting on your population. And then we've got 3 units in the city, which is the yellow number. Okay, I've got everybody queued up. Let's start another turn. Oop, I wanted to send my Zeppelins out, but that's all right. We'll grab this infantry guy here, put them together, and then we're just going to wait for this artillery to be finished, which is in 2.1 turns. After the artillery, let's go for... I don't think an oil refinery is going to do us any good yet. An oil refinery will basically increase the amount of oil that a city is producing if it does have oil around it. So for instance, if we were to capture this oil here, then we could build the oil refinery and get a little bit more oil out of that oil source there. But since we don't have it captured, it does us no good yet until we at least capture Manila. So I guess we'll just start producing wealth after we build this artillery, and that'll have this city produce money per turn. All right, let's set these guys to... we'll set them up to actually start bombarding the city with the artillery first, and that'll help us out there. I forgot to queue up my Zeppelins again. There we go. So we're bombarding them. We already did 1 damage to the militia there, so hopefully 1 more turn we should have him killed, and then we can go in there for a clean capture without having to risk damaging our own infantry to fight him. Let's take the Zeppelin. We'll head off that way just to see if there's anything and head down there and submit our turn. We've got a food source of fish down there, so that's very good. It looks like we might be on some type of peninsula or something over here. That would be very useful because it would make it a very easily defendable location, especially if the peninsula runs down this way or runs over this way, because I've got a fort right here that'll be in the area, so I can station some troops on that fort and protect my capital if enemies start coming over this way. So Guadalajara has actually, the militia has been destroyed, so we can actually just grab our infantry unit there, basically march him into the city. And we're waiting 1 more turn, actually 0.1 turn, and we'll have that infantry piece there, and then we can head out and capture Manila as well. There we go. So Guadalajara is ours, which is really good, so we can set it up to produce some stuff. Now this city is actually on the coast, so we can start getting some ships produced, which is definitely something we want to do. We're going to grab a transport right off the bat, basically because we want to make sure that this city can actually head out and capture these sources over here, especially the food and the oil source, because as you can see, I'm starting to run heavily out of food and oil, so I'm actually not going to build any more units until I can help improve that. What I'll do is I'll queue up the shipyard first, and then I will queue up the transport, because the shipyard will give me a bonus towards building naval vessels, and so that'll reduce the transport's turn a little bit more and save me probably some resources or something to help me out. Let's throw this artillery up here into Guadalajara, and let's grab this artillery, add it to the group, and we'll march these guys. Actually, before I capture Manila, I think I'll leave Manila open. Let's head down to the fort real quick, because what I actually want to do is try to find some more food resources and oil and such on land before I get that transport. Let's take this Zeppelin. Now, we can actually send him out of the circle, because he can go all the way to the red circle here with fuel, and we're just going to send him to Guadalajara and station him there, so that way he can scout kind of around this area and have basically a different base of operations. And we'll send that Zeppelin down there. Alright, so nothing over that way. Those white dots there are the border to my area, by the way, so the more things I capture, the larger the border increases. We're getting very low on food now, so this is telling me basically by highlighting red that I don't have enough food to actually support myself for 1 more turn. So now this is a point in the game where cash actually becomes very handy. And so what I could do is I can actually click on the food here and open the market buy/sell, and I can actually sell items that I'm producing, you know, a lot of, like steel. Right now I'm producing a pretty good amount, so I could sell some steel if I wanted to. And then I can also buy market items from other players in the game. If I wanted to, I could actually go to, I believe it's the trade screen, or actually no, I think it's still in the market screen. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I can click on these guys and see what they actually want. So Rommel here, the Nazis actually want 80 food, and the Canadians want 20 oil and 70 food. So that tells me right there that since both players want food, everybody in the game right now is hurting for food. So there must not be very many food resources on the map. And if they're all hurting for food, then it's going to be very hard for me to buy food as well. It's going to be very expensive. But he wants oil, 20 oil. I don't have a lot of oil, but the only negative impact from losing oil is that your vehicles move really, really slow and your aircraft pretty much can't fly. So it is pretty bad, but early in the game it's not too big of a deal. But I don't want to sell my oil yet. Let me first see if I just want to buy maybe 22 food, just enough to get me, or we'll do actually 24. Just enough to maybe get me through the next couple games. It's going to cost me $72. I'm going to do that. And that'll buy me a couple more turns as I hopefully try and find some more food. I'm hoping that there'll be a source over here somewheres. If not, I could definitely gather this 6 food with that transport, but that could take a couple more turns, and I'll just have to keep buying food if that ends up being the case. New York's still producing 7.5. Also, your population will start going down if you lose food as well, and it's actually very, extremely bad if that happens. Let's actually take this infantryman and remove him from this group here. So we'll actually just disband the group, because I want to send him by himself down this way to try to see if we can't find some more food, because this is going to be a problem very quickly. Another city, but that doesn't really do us any good. We'll head down this way then. We've got just enough for one more turn. Alright, nothing there. Let's see. Let's see what we can do here. So we can actually disband one of these groups. Let's disband one of these infantry guys. That'll save us a little bit on food. He's actually going to have to run off and do that. Let's actually disband this entire group here for a second. Okay, yeah. So he should be heading off to disband. Let's see if we can find anything else. No, don't do that. Head back to that city, since that saves me on food. You head back. You're the one that's about to disband, right? No, you're not. So you head down this way. You're going to head back to the city. Artillery can stay right there. Okay. Oop. Okay, so we need to buy some more food to keep us going. Let's see what we've got here. 10 food. All right, that'll get us one more turn. Let's do it. And I'm going to cut this episode off here since we are out of time. So we do have a little bit of a food crisis, but hopefully we'll be able to pick up this fish over here, and then maybe we'll find some more food down in this area as well. And we'll see if we bump into the other players next episode as well. But I hope you guys did enjoy this one, and I will see you next time.